أخرجه البخاري. وجاء في رواية فذكر نحو حديث ابن عباس وفي آخره فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أما إذا أبيت فهي كما تقول قضاء الله كائن فما أمسى من الغد إلا ميتا. أخرجه الطبراني. Whenever Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam visits sick person, he used to supplicate to Allah and say purification. So he visited a sick man once and supplicate with the same dua by saying purification. But the man replied, "Purification, you said? No, but it is a fever boiling in an old man, taking him to the graves." Then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "So it be." As the man was insisting on his thought, Allah unsurprisingly made him spend that night in his grave. Dear respectful brothers and sisters, many lessons can be taught from what happened to this man. However, one important lesson, which is the subject of our khutbah today, is that we need to be optimistic and positive. Because this man not only did not comply with what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, but he also was pessimistic. Listen, brothers and sisters, to what Allah said in this hadith Qudsi about the same matter. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال تعالى: أنا عند ظن عبدي بي إن ظن خيرا فله وإن ظن شرا فله. أخرجه الإمام أحمد وابن حبان في صحيحه والبيهقي. Allah is saying, I am whatever my servant think of me. If he thinks good, he will get it. And if he thinks bad, he will get it. In this hadith Qudsi, Allah is clearly stating the fact that we should be aware of what we think. We should be aware of what we think of Him. When we have the correct awareness of our negative thoughts, we are actually taking the first step forward. We are actually taking the first step towards changing them. Let's consider another example, dear brothers and sisters, from the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet first made hijrah to Medina, or migration to Medina, at that time Medina used to be called Yathrib. In Arabic, the word Yathrib is a derivation of another Arabic word, and that is tathrib, means reproof or blame. Many of us know how were the conditions in Medina before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam hijrah, and how it became afterwards. There was no doubt that this name not only has a negative meaning, but it also has a negative connotation. Therefore, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed this name to Tayba. In Arabic, the word Tayba is derived from another Arabic word, and that is Tayyib, which means good. What Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did was a clear indication that he was alert to all the negative thoughts and pictures that can be associated with that name. If Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was not concerned about the possible negative images that the old name may revoke, he wouldn't take care of it anyway. Precisely, he was concerned about the issue of pessimism. Dear respectful brothers and sisters, the attitude that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ took on this situation is the kind of attitude that we need to take in many aspects of our life. What he did is one of the ways to avoid being pessimistic. It is one picture of what scholars call التفاؤل or optimism. In fact, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ once was asked about the meaning of optimism. عندما سئل الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم عن معنى كلمة التفاؤل فقال هي الكلمة الصالحة يسمعها أحدكم. وجاء في حديث أنس رضي الله عنه أن الفأل الكلمة الحسنة والكلمة الطيبة. Regarding this matter, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he was asked about the meaning of optimism, he said, optimism is the good word anyone may hear. In another hadith narrated by Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, it is the good word and the kind word. Accordingly, we can infer that this meaning excludes any negative words. That is, positive word to negative words is the same as optimism to pessimism. We can also infer that optimism is not only a positive way of looking at events. It is also to take a step forward to meet challenges keeping us from going forward. In fact, being optimistic is another way of being realistic, because optimism is a quality that enables us from realizing our problems and at the same time trusting Allah that He will get us out of it. Moreover, we should be certain that as long as there is a cure for every sickness, there will be a solution to every problem. Even when we are thinking with our short knowledge, things are not working in the way we are planned, we will find out that later that Allah has stored something even better than what we were expected. قال تعالى يا أيها النبي قل لمن في أيديكم من الأسرى إن يعلم الله في قلوبكم خيرا يؤتكم خيرا مما أخذ منكم ويغفر لكم والله غفور رحيم. The close translation of which Allah is saying, O Prophet, say to those of the captives who are in your hands, if Allah knows anything good in your hearts, He will give you better than that which has been taken away from you, and will forgive you. And Allah is forgiving, merciful. Now, brothers and sisters in Islam, we are aware of the issue at hand, and we learn that optimism is one of the effective ways to deal with it. However, some of us may not know the consequences of being optimistic, because sometimes when we do not see the immediate payoff to what we are doing, we tend to lack the incentive to do it in the future. Thus, some scholars listed 3 payoffs for optimism. The first and the most important one is following the sunnah of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As we have seen earlier in the example, when the Prophet Muhammad migrated to Medina, he changed its name because it was negative. This example is actually a good indication that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam liked optimism. In general, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was optimistic in all his wars and battles. So, what is more beautiful, dear brothers and sisters, than thinking and acting like our Prophet did? The second benefit is that we can find satisfaction and inner peace that many of us are seeking today. Because when we believe that Allah is always towards what is best for us, we will see that manifested in our life. Let's take another example from the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet was in Mecca before Hijrah to Medina, he tolerated all the hardships and difficulties he had then. Despite all what happened to him, he was 100% sure that Allah will reveal the truth of Islam to everyone in Mecca. He never lost hope, not even a single time. Afterwards, we saw how Allah fulfilled His promise and helped His Prophet return to Mecca with a famous victory. The last consequence is that we will find hope almost everywhere. If we are optimistic, we will still have a hope in a bright future, even in the most difficult times in our life. It has been said that an optimistic person sees opportunities in every difficulty, and a pessimistic person finds difficulties in every opportunity. At the end of this first khutbah, I would like for you, brothers and sisters, to take a moment to think of this imagery that Allah uses to symbolize what we are talking about. قال تعالى: ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. In this verse, Allah is saying, do you not see how Allah has given the example of a good word? It is like a good tree whose root is firmly fixed and whose branches reach the sky, ever yielding its fruit in every season with the leaf of its Lord. Allah gives example for mankind that they may take heed. أقول ما سمعتم إن أصبت فمن الله وإن أخطأت فمن نفسي والشيطان وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.